Hello, my friends, and happy Thursday to you. You survived most of the week, and you know what I survived? New York and Canada. I'm right now in Ottawa, and yesterday we actually protested in front of the Russian embassy here in Ottawa with amazing people who have been protesting in front of that embassy for the last almost 700 days. They have not skipped a single day. And of course, that's not it, because we met some very special people here in Canada. Senators and MPs, and I'll tell you all about it during this video. But we'll begin with news from Ukraine. Well, not from Ukraine, from Russia. Near the Russian city of Izhevsk, Udmurtia, it's one of the Russian oblasts or areas. Udmurts are not Russian people, they are other ethnic minorities, not Slavic people at all. Well, there was an explosion in a Russian military engine factory. Huge kaboom. All the people around it saw it and filmed it and posted it online for everybody to see. It was magnificent to watch. Now, this is a serious setback for the Russian Ministry of Defense because they're trying to make everything themselves, trying to be self-sufficient in military procurement. And this factory produces engines for a lot of their missiles. I'll read you the list right now, actually. R-17, RT-21M, RT-21, RT-2PM, RT-2UTTH, RS-24, and RS-M56. All of these are different types of missiles that Russia is producing, and this factory is a very vital link in producing engines for these missiles. And now it is no more. It's demilitarized. It's vaporized into blue and yellow. It's knocked out cold, as I say. The main point is that this physical building, this engine factory, is on the other side of the Ural Mountains. So it was away from the reach of the Third Reich, but it's not away from the reach of Ukraine. It's 1,300 kilometers from the nearest Ukrainian control point, and yet Ukraine managed to send a drone there to make a huge bavovna. Beautiful. Now, the Russian Ministry of Defense claimed that this factory blew up because of an engine test failure. It produces engines, so they test one and it fails. Because for Russians, it is better to admit that they made the mistake than that Ukraine is actually just destroying their factories. Better to be stupid than to be weak in the Russian eyes. They are afraid of weakness overall. So this huge factory burning, don't worry, it was Ivan smoking carelessly. It wasn't the Ukrainians. We don't need to do anything about it. It's just Ivan. Don't worry about it. My friends, yesterday there was another missile attack against Kiev, against civilian infrastructure. Ukrainian air defense shot down most of the missiles and drones, but unfortunately, if you shoot down a missile that is flying 500, 700, even 1,000 kilometers per hour at some points, you shoot it down, the debris will hit the buildings in the kinetic force, it doesn't matter if it's a missile or debris of a missile, it hurts almost the same. So apartment buildings were on fire. And in this video, unfortunately, you can see a man after his apartment building was burned to the ground, comforting his dead dog. He lost his pet, he lost his best friend, he lost his dog to the Russian terror bombing. This is what we are fighting against. This is what Ukrainians are fighting against. And this is what I'm doing here in Canada to fight against that terror. I'm consolidating support for the EU in Canadian Parliament and in the US also. Right now I'm in Ottawa and I will tell you who we met yesterday. And if you want that information before everybody else, then all of that will always be first-hand on my Patreon. Link is in the description below before everybody else sees it. Canadian Senator Ratna Omidvar. We met with Senator Ratna Omidvar. The senator has been extremely active in proposing legislation to freeze Russian assets in Canada and repurpose them, as well as in connecting with other countries like the UK and the US, pushing similar initiatives in 2024. Personally talking to the senator, I developed huge respect for her extremely well-worded and powerful woman. Very pro-Ukraine, and now we share the flag of Artur's army. We are working together for Ukraine. I'm bringing this out so you understand my mission here in Canada and the US. Then we met Ivan Baker, Member of Parliament who is also a chair of Canada-Ukraine Parliamentary Friendship Group. He expressed in detail how much Canada has done for Ukraine starting from 2014 and what are the plans for the future. And of course, then we met the Lithuanian ambassador to Canada, and that was a lot of fun. Love the dude. As soon as Lithuanians, we understand each other fully. I mean, it was more humor than actual productive meetings, but I mean, He was amazing. We both are very pro-Ukraine. Point is, Artur's army is expanding and we are gathering support for Ukraine all across the continents. My friends, I've shown you many drone videos and I'm sure you've seen many drone videos of Russian ammunition depots exploding, ammunition dumps or mine piles exploding. We see the beautiful Bavovna explosion, all good, you eat your popcorn, but you don't see the aftermath usually because the video ends. Well, now I'm here to show you what happens and what's the outcome of one of those explosions. Don't worry, there's nothing graphic here, just to illustrate the destruction, the level of destruction after these drone videos end. What goes on the ground? Let's watch it. Everything is filled with ash. The residue of the explosion, of course, this is unexploded ordnance right here. I wouldn't be walking around with this. There are vehicles done. You can see everything, like nothing left. I heard this was done by Baba Yaga, the very same one we gave. You guys actually, you funded this. You funded this explosion also because this Baba Yaga now made a huge, beautiful Bavovna and we get to eat popcorn. My friends, now Washington Post has come out with this article that Ukraine is short on soldiers. This is true. There is an acute deficit of well-trained soldiers in the Ukrainian army, as much as ammunition, as much as almost everything. The situation is not rosy. Avdiivka is in a very, very tense situation. Krinky is hell on earth. The situation is very difficult for Ukraine. At least European funding came through for the next 3 years, but the United States is in a political deadlock. So if you watch my channel regularly, you might have an idea that I only paint the rosy picture, but I don't. I go to Ukraine regularly. 5 times in 2023 I went there, so I know the situation exactly. And here, yes, I'm here to confirm that, yes, Ukraine is lacking soldiers. Now, Zelensky wants to fire Syrskyi and put somebody else in Syrskyi's position. You know why? Because Syrskyi came out with a proposition to mobilize. There was already one draft to declare demobilization in Ukraine, and it was pushed back due to issues in the wording and legal issues in the draft. In all honesty, mobilization is extremely unpopular in Ukraine, as it would be in any country, as it is in Russia. And Ukraine is in acute deficit of soldiers. So how do you finish this deadlock? How do you come out of it? Definitely the replacement of Syrskyi will not do any good to Ukrainian international image or internal image, because most people in Ukraine respect and honor Syrskyi, and Syrskyi is right now more popular than Zelensky. So it definitely is a little bit of a popularity war in between those two. And what makes things even worse is that Russian leadership, of course, knows and sees all of this. So they have renewed their offensive operations to use the momentum of Ukrainian deadlock and United States internal political deadlock to make a breakthrough on the front line somewhere. As until now, when I'm making this video, all of Ukrainian defenses are holding, the front line is steady, but the Russians are pushing extremely hard right now, trying to use the internal confusion in the leadership and, let's say it, beef between Syrskyi and Zelensky to take this as a weakness and push through the front line. The Russians are trying to use this. My friends, right now I'm in Canada, Ottawa. I'm in the Estonian embassy. Actually, we just went to the Russian embassy and protested. Before, we went to the Latvian and Lithuanian embassies, met with senators, but I just found out today that Syrskyi has been dismissed. And when I made the video that you see right now, that was 2 hours before. So now it came out, I have to make in the Estonian embassy this little report for you. Yes, General Syrskyi has been dismissed. He will be replaced by General Syrskyi, who is known to be much more aggressive, much more as a hardliner in the military. Syrskyi is, we cannot call it soft approach. It wasn't soft, but it was balanced. Syrskyi is known to be more aggressive, more offensive, something maybe that Zelensky wants a bit more now. So, and also the fact that many people think that Syrskyi and Zelensky had this kind of beef or arguments between them. That is not true, because they talked almost every day. Even at the end, before Syrskyi was dismissed, at the dismissal, they met each other, they spoke. And Syrskyi himself commented at the dismissal ceremony that a change in the leadership of the armed forces of Ukraine is very necessary. So we have to change, the battlefield has to change, the world has to change. So he sees and knows why he's being dismissed, and he understands it. So there's not going to be bad blood or beef But what I can say is that the new General Syrskyi, who will be replacing a new Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, known to be much more aggressive and much more perhaps feared by the soldiers because they don't know what's awaiting them now. The orders can be very aggressive, very offensive, and we can expect a new Ukrainian mobilization, which is very unpopular. So definitely a lot of tensions will be happening because of this dismissal. But Zelensky saw this to be necessary, and Zaluzhny also saw this to be necessary. So this is why it happened. I'll keep you posted on this change in every one of my videos. Again, I apologize for this kind of format, but I'm moving around in some embassies right now. Cannot really film for you, so this is what I do with the phone. Now, my friends, I'll show you something that really sums up the Russian army's traditional values that Putin is always propagating. Look at all these Ivans. Oh, wonderful Ivans right here. But what is this? Oh my God. This is a dorm or a barracks of Russian soldiers with Georgi's pattern, as you can see everywhere. But oh, they forgot a little small detail. What is that? I don't know. You tell me. And this guy is specifically happy to see it. Oh, it's just a lighter. Oh, I got it all wrong. Sorry. Yeah, Russia still has traditional values. I'm sorry. It's just a lighter. Trust me, bro. It's a lighter. My friends, Ukrainian forces deployed in Avdiivka shot down a Russian Ka-52 attack helicopter Alligator using man-pads. Now, this was reported by Brigadier General Oleksandr Darnyavsky. So it is official report from the Armed Forces of Ukraine. The loss of Alligator attack helicopters is incredibly deadly for Russia because it's very hard to produce them because a lot of the parts, I cannot say most, but a lot of the parts in that helicopter are Western origin. Yes, it is strange that most modern Russian weapons actually work so well. If they do, the T-14 Armata doesn't. But the attack helicopter Alligator is a very formidable weapon, and it works quite well because it has a lot of Western parts in it. And even the loopholes in sanctions don't allow enough Western parts for them to remake the Alligator. So they have a finite amount of them. They started the war with about 120 of them, and now they're about somewhere 60, 70 of them. So every loss of one such attack helicopter is a huge blow. My friends, now I'll jump a little bit outside of Ukrainian war and I'll look at the, let's call it now, World War III from the wider angle, because there are many conflicts which involve the same sides. It's the global south, it's the Russia, China, Iran axis against the West, the democratic nations. And I'll read you this report because it's very important actually on that grander scale, and it affects the Ukrainian war also. At 9:30 p.m. Baghdad time, February 7th, the United States Central Command forces conducted a unilateral strike in Iraq in response to the attack on United States service members. The attack on United States service members was with casualties to U.S. personnel, so this is why U.S. retaliates. Tensions on the Red Sea in the Middle East are increasing, and the United States is increasing their attacks, killing a Hezbollah commander responsible for directly planning and participating in attacks on United States forces in the region. There are no indications of collateral damage or civilian casualties at this time. The United States will continue to take necessary action to protect our people. We will not hesitate to hold responsible all those who threaten our forces' safety. Now, after the Houthi rebels have been periodically and almost daily attacking shipping routes and ships, merchant ships on the Red Sea, and Hezbollah attacked United States personnel in Iraq, we were all waiting for the United States response, and we were hoping that it would be adequate for this kind of attack against the Western powers, and I see that it is. See, the global south, the Russia, Iran, China axis is always looking for reactions. How do United States, as the most powerful military in the world and the leading country in NATO, react to attacks against his forces in the Middle East or in the Red Sea area? And we now see that the reactions are strong and powerful and decisive. Me, as a representative of Estonia, I'm glad to see this because one of these attacks might come against us. And in that sense, we need those strong reactions. And we base our defense on those strong reactions. Of course, Iraqis are not happy with this United States attack on their soil, so they are now gathering en masse. People are angry. It's almost a crowd gathering to attack the United States embassy. Well, if they do, this sparks another era of hostilities between the United States and the Iraqi people. I'm sure United States personnel defending the embassy in Baghdad has been put in high alert and they are ready. Interesting fact about United States Embassy in Iraq, in Baghdad, is that it is one of the biggest, largest embassies on earth. It's 104 acres, as you can see on the map also. And now, my friends, I'll show you a video how we protested in Ottawa in front of the Russian embassy while the Russian diplomats were going in and out. These people in Ottawa have been protesting there for almost the entirety of the war. They have not skipped a single day. Every day they picket in front of the embassy with Ukrainian colors, singing Ukrainian songs and showing solidarity of Canadian people to Ukrainian people. And I took part in it also. And here on this video behind me, you can hear Ukrainian anthem being played on bagpipes filled with Ukrainian colors while the Russian diplomats are trying to go to work and get from work. We made it really difficult for them. I'm glad to see such solidarity of Canadian people to Ukrainian people and indirectly also then to Estonian people, because we are in the same struggle. Thank you, Canadians. If you are in Canada, you're a Canadian citizen, thank you from the bottom of my heart. And now, my friends, I want to read you Patreon names. These are the people who allow me to be here, do what I do, gather support for Ukraine, meet the senators, meet the MPs. We're in Canada. I'm also going to the US and we're going to meet some senators in the US, gathering support all around, and Artur's army will bring Ukraine to victory. And it is all thanks to the following people. Matkev Moss, Ramon Yaraba, Thomas Brindl, Victor Kutarra, Pertalan Salontai. Thank you to these 5 people. If you like my channel and you want to know what I do here in Canada and the US and want to see the pictures with the senators and MPs and whoever I'm meeting here, because I'm meeting a lot of people. I'm going to factories, I'm going to Ukrainian organizations. I'll put it all up on Patreon. Sign up to Patreon, see it all before others. Until my next video, my friends, Slava Ukraini, and bye-bye.